What is good? Hello, my home skillet biscuits. My name is Imani. I am a writer and an astrologer. Decoding the esoteric is the name of the game, and on my channel we talk about relationship astrology, okay, also known as synastry in astrology. We are doing a series right now with ascendant overlays, and if you're watching this video, that means you're tuning in because you want to know what is up with your connection with ascendant in the 7th house synastry overlay. So you've pulled up your chart, you've pulled up your crushes, your partner's chart, and you realize that you have opposite rising signs. How exciting. Okay, so let's dive in. The person that you have ascendant in the 7th house synastry overlay with, the person that you have sister sign, rising signs, this is just the person that you never knew you needed. On the outside, physically, appearance-wise, they may not seem like your type, but upon learning what they do and how they approach life, you realize like this is damn near your soulmate. In the other person, you're recognizing certain values, and this is the person where you're gonna think, wow, like they have the courage to live the way that I've always wanted to live. They're speaking about things publicly that I've always wanted to speak publicly about. But it's like for you never went down that path because you were either held back by family or just the people that you surround yourself with. You would have felt like the odd one out, and so you chose a different path. But for them, for the other person in this overlay, you're looking at them like, wow, that could have been me. In this relationship, you might start to realize the areas in your life where you've dulled your light in order to remain accepted by loved ones. Meeting this person reminds you of two things. One, you're not alone in your beliefs. And two, what you may have thought was impossible for you, you start to realize that it's been possible this whole time. You start to realize that maybe you didn't think you were being held back, or you were dimming your light or not being your full true self. And it just starts to click that, you know what, maybe I didn't go down that path that this other person did because I just didn't want it enough. You could have wanted more the company of your friends and family. But yeah, in that mirror, in looking at the other person, it's like, wow, that's what life would have looked like for me if I didn't prioritize my relationships over my mission, over my purpose. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Remember too, you're seeing this in each other. So it's not like one person took the righteous path and the other person didn't. It's just looking in this person is like looking at the fork in the road, and imagine if you could split yourself and actually go down both roads instead of having to choose one. That's what the relationship is like. Each of you are looking at each other like, wow, this is what would have happened if I went left. The other person is like, this is what would have happened if I went right. So yeah, this person can feel like who you were in another life, who you are in some kind of parallel timeline. The energy of this overlay is kind of like the other person is actually the wife or the husband of your friend, but if the friend, God forbid, passes away, then like you guys would be together. Like this overlay, ascendant in the 7th house overlay, is literally those movies where it's like, I don't know if you guys seen Manifest, but he thinks that his girlfriend died, and in sharing the grief and the loss of that with her best friend, they end up getting together. And then she comes back from her dad and it's like, whoa. In this overlay, it gives that energy of like, wow, you never allowed yourself to see it before, see that you had a connection because of some other thing. Maybe it could be physical appearance, maybe it could be that that's actually the boyfriend or girlfriend of your friend. But for some reason later down the line, it's like the lights come on in the house for both of you. You just start seeing each other like in that way. But yeah, I mean, this connection is cute and all, but it isn't exactly effortless. Once you realize you like them, it's like you have feelings, of course, but this connection requires legwork. You gotta make plans in advance, or you won't see this person. And without seeing them, it's like out of sight, out of mind. The feelings can fade quickly. That doesn't mean the feelings aren't real, but it's not this like self-burning fire that you have with, say, like ascendant in the 5th house synastry overlay. It's not that natural integration. Even with 6th house synastry, there's this like falling into place where it's like, I always kept this spot open in my life for you. And so now that you're here, you just fit right in. That's very sixth house synastry to me. But with this overlay, with ascendant in the seventh house overlay, it's like you guys have your own lives going on, and it's very full. It's already very rich. So when you meet each other, if you're not both deciding to give 100%, it becomes very unsustainable. You have to each decide that you are going to prioritize this connection despite the fact that you already feel like your life has everything it needs. It's like you got to make room. You got to energetically clear out a drawer for them so they have somewhere to put their stuff. Something that can dead this relationship is being stuck in your own ways. Like I said, you have a very full life. You already are abiding by your own standards, your own lifestyle. So when this other person comes in, they really rub up on your boundaries. The energy is kind of like you're similar enough to where you invite them to move into your house, but once they're in, they start putting up like weird art on the wall. And you start to realize like, yeah, I actually like a certain aesthetic, and now you have come in and ruined it all. Because the other person has their own unique things, you know? That's part of the thing with the seventh house too. You know, they say it's open enemies, open adversaries. But I find that to manifest more like as if you have a boxing match scheduled with the other person. So you're both aware that you want to beat the other person, you want to win. But then there's this moment of shaking hands before and also after the match. And that is signaling an underlying respect for one another. Like, definitely after the match, you're going for bottomless mimosas after. You know, that's the energy of the open eneminess. We know that we're on opposing teams with certain things, but we're not necessarily taking that personally. We can respect the other person's position and not let it get in the way of our union, our bond, our connection. And if y'all are bigger enemies than that, then you probably have some like 12th house energy going on. But there's got to be some other aspect throwing it out, because it really should not be too serious. But yeah, when you encounter this overlay in your life, this is definitely teaching you how to make room in your life for someone. And it's also like, how do you make room in your life for a different way of doing things? Whether that's through rebelling against your norm, loving someone that you never thought could be an option, pushing yourself to do things just because they're important to someone else. It's like you're definitely expanding your capacity for self-love here, and in turn, that also expands how much you can love another. It's not as serious as Ascendant in the 9th house overlay, but I'd say the essential difference is that this overlay starts with self-love. Starts with realizing from seeing the other person, I can be more than I am. The boundaries that I initially drew for myself can be redrawn. You just start to realize that maybe the other relationships in my life shouldn't be as high of a priority. Again, nothing wrong with that, but you start to think, what would happen if I demote that just from first place to second place and instead put me right at the top? But yeah, that's really the essential energy. I do love this one. The best part about it is seeing that person live that other life, and it's almost like you don't even have to bother choosing that other life when you're with them, because you can start to live through them. It can really feel like you have it both ways, but more than likely they're going to inspire you so much that you're definitely going to be making some major changes in the trajectory of where your life is going. So that's it, that's all. Next up is Ascendant in the 6th house overlay. So check whose charts you have that with, and I'll see you next time at that one. Bye.